Well, a showdown is underway in the state of Alabama. A judge deciding whether to block the toughest state law in the nation targeting illegal immigration. Christiane Ramos is the policy director of the 21st Century Border Initiative. Bob Dane is the communications director for the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Good to see you both. Bob, I must say that the district judge seemed very skeptical about the enforcement provision of the law, saying, quote, there are a lot of problems with the statute. How in the world do you think police are going to make these determinations without profiling? Bob, not looking good for your side.
Look, this bill probably will move forward. It should, and we'll see other states doing it. Look, the essence of this lawsuit, this is not about establishing the parameters of who is in charge of immigration enforcement. The whole political ploy here is by the Obama administration to make sure that nobody enforces the law. Remember, last year, the Department of Justice went after Arizona, just like they're going after Alabama, and they said, federal preemption, it's our job, not your job. But what's happened over the last year? The Obama administration has bypassed Congress. They've systematically dismantled most interior enforcement and granted deferred action to millions of illegal aliens. So you have this reaction to the inaction in Washington, and states like Alabama are rising to the defense of their citizens, and then they get pounded on by the Department of Justice.
Put a question to you. We have limited time, Bob. I got to cut you off. Christiane, let me go to you. This law was drafted because Alabama is experiencing a lot of illegals flocking to the state. They're taking precious jobs away from legal residents. When the federal government abdicates its responsibility, don't states have inherent police power and concurrent rights to enforce their borders?
Well, okay, so let's talk a bit about political action right now. If we were talking about...
Give me a direct answer, Christiane, please.
Well, Chris Kobach, the designer of the law that's going on in Alabama, designed this law directly to challenge federal authority. So in a sense, this really is about getting the federal government to act on this. But I think the way that he wants them to act...
I asked you about concurrent authority, and the Supreme Court says that does exist when it comes to immigration. Concurrent authority. Christiane?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that there is not an issue of concurrent authority. But as you pointed out, in the lawsuit in Alabama, they're probably going to strike down those provisions which would allow local law enforcement officers to enforce this law, because there are very real questions and problems about whether or not this is enforceable, which is why I'm trying to point out that these laws in Arizona and in Alabama are more political, about making statements about getting the federal government involved in passing comprehensive immigration reform, which is what this is really about. We should be concentrating on the federal level. Alabama has representatives, they have senators. If those guys feel so strongly about enforcement legislation, they should be passing it on the federal level, not in Alabama, where this is going to cost taxpayers a fortune,
Bob,
and it's never going to be enforced.
30 seconds left, Bob. Real quick rebuttal.
Look, we won't do it here in Washington. You can't do it at the state level. Nobody can do it. If this administration doesn't want to keep playing whack-a-mole...
Why can't the federal government do this?
May I finish?
Why can't Congress do this?
If the administration doesn't want to keep directing resources at states who are trying to protect their citizens,
this year alone,
then they need to get serious with border enforcement, interior
enforcement. Border enforcement has been funded at $90 billion over the last 10 years.
Nobody can understand you guys because you're talking over each other, so I'm going to get the last word. The 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, and 10th Circuit Courts have upheld state action upon arresting illegals. It's now in the hands of the Supreme Court. We'll wait and see. Gentlemen, thank you.
Oof. All right, there we go.
It's a feisty issue.